Hello, Calgary. How are you guys doing? This feels like homecoming because I really got my spoken word start on this very stage when I competed in the slam. So it's nice to be back in Calgary. It's nice being back in Calgary. But, oh, that's all you guys got? Come on. All right, so we'll start with love. In the beginning, there was only us. Before light was first spoken, we existed in the moment before Genesis, before the taste of forbidden fruit, a speck of dust to ignite generations. And we know this darkness well. Move through it with the speed of love or light, your ribs, a creation blueprint beneath my fingers, your mouth, a holy place. Tracing 1,000 amens along my spine, and you unearth me like ancient scripture. Travel over me like a pilgrimage, each heartbeat is prophecy. And there are revelations here. There is gospel nestled in your palms, psalms, parables, proverbs in the warmth of your breath. And we are a creation story, a testament to weathering storms 2 by 2, the audacity to walk on water, take down giants. And I only need look at the miracles unfolding in your smile to remember that there is salvation in a kiss. There are small mercies in a pulse, and they will call this blasphemy. Say we spit in the face of holiness the way we worship, but there is no greater proof of God than this. There is no closer to divine than us. We are the Lazarus rise of a stack of bones. There are red seas parting in our veins. We are light at the frequency of everything. We are the promise of eternity whispered into the night. Thank you. This is my body, mine. And no one's ever called it skinny or fat before. I was always sort of in between, closer to the thick end of things, if I'm being honest. These are my mother's genes. But it's taken the painful rhythm of too many broken things for me to finally realize I could trace the landscape of an empire on my face, or find the buried arts burnt into my skin, and finally begin to understand the mathematics of my body. One perfectly imperfect creation powered by the divine hand of something far greater than myself. The Rastafarians call this the I, and I, that's two. The infinite power of pairs. That I was created by the collision of two spirits, and my limbs exist as duplicate parts just in case I need a spare. The oneness of me and you. And this is how we have weathered even the darkest storms 2 by 2, like the chambers of my beating heart. And I would run far and wide for somewhere to speak into, somewhere to speak my fears into, only to return to the incredible strength of something no larger than a fist. 5 fingers to count the blessings of a steady heartbeat. But nobody ever taught me to name my body this way. To exist in more than just silent fractions of breasts, hips, thighs ready for appraisal, measured by the handful, shame pushed deep into my throat so I could only speak with a voice barely big enough to call myself woman. And I was 19 when I met him. A man with restless eyes and a mouth brimming with promises. He taught me a new kind of mathematics, that I could fracture silently in so many quiet places that I'd be left with nothing more than a set of impossible numbers, divisions by 0. And I would attempt iteration after iteration after iteration, only to return to the perfection of 1, to stand in awe of the precision of each breath, the precision of bone upon bone, defying gravity with every step, to marvel at how the blood that travels my veins knows the same rhythm as oceans I've never seen before. The oneness between each tide and the rivers that course through me in accordance with the moon, the stories that travel with the wind to plant themselves on my tongue, switchblade sharp, ready and waiting to protect what was always mine. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to invite Mary Pinkoski up to the stage because I feel like you guys haven't had enough of Mary quite yet. So I wrote this poem a little while ago, and then I met Mary, who has become like a true friend of mine. She's one of my favorite people and one of my favorite poets. And so this is like...
Thank you.
This is really cool for me. So we're going to do a poem for you guys. I come from a long line of women, gripping bullets between their teeth,
gripping rosary beads between their fingers,
stifling cries while catching babies by candlelight,
stifling expectations while birthing babies in benediction.
So when dreams are filled with the image of this child that has yet to be conceived, asking what has become of womanhood,
all I have to offer is this, dear daughter.
They said I couldn't birth you without the glare of hospital lights,
without the prick of needles pumping synthetic calm through my veins.
They tried to tell me I was too fragile.
They said I could not carry a life's labor with these hands without knowing the weight of what these hands have already held.
The quieted weapons of warriors,
the captured prayers of a people, the silenced melodies of mothers.
I want you to know that there was nothing random about your conception. Every cell in my body gave way to direct your path. Baby, I willed you into being.
Pulled you into my core, all the while praying that you would remember the path that led you there, that you would beat a rhythm into the walls of my womb, let it reverberate through my lips so I would speak creation stories with every breath.
I delivered you in warrior stance, feet firmly planted against the earth because I wanted you to be born already connected in harmony with all things, told them I wouldn't take it lying down. We have forgotten that gravity is divine. It forces us to be grounded.
And so you were born with the heavens and with the earth pulled into you. My sisters began to hum your dawning, proclaiming your arrival in celestial song like the rhythm of the planets in their dance around the fire of the sun. In their praise, they locked you into a circle.
To remind you that this love would always revolve around you.
In our glory, they spoke incantations to your feet.
So that your way would be blessed.
In our joy, they ran their fingers up your spine.
So that your strength would be true. By the time you read this, you will be a spitting image of your father.
Yet, there will be days when you catch glimpses of my ribs in your cheekbones, feel the hope of the breath you drew from my lungs on your lips.
And on these days, I will hold your hand in mine and let you trace the stretch marks across my belly like braille so you can see what resilience means, how I swelled to accommodate you. And we could chant together the prayers spoken from faces pressed against bulging belly.
Read together the graffiti from the walls of my womb on your fingertips, the place where you inscribed your name into me.
Is that how I knew what to call you immediately? A complex clicking of tongues ending in a sigh of contentment.
Mary Elizabeth, for your mother. Rosemary Margaret, for my mother. Bernice Margaret, for her mother. Dear daughter, you are a vessel of everything I have spoken. Words falling off your tongue will guide lost nations to truth.
And even though this earth has forgotten the oneness between its shape and the pregnant belly of a woman,
the oneness between its myths and the birth of a child, you will be created in love, always in all ways, your mother.
Thank you, Mary. So as my bio said, I am of Nigerian descent, which is something I like to talk about a lot when I perform poetry. Anyone heard of Nigeria? Yes? Okay. So I'm sure what you've heard is probably some 419 like email, send me like $100,000 and you get 500 million back. Yes? Okay, cool. Or we're also really popular for trying to blow up an airplane and failing. That was really cool. But this poem is not about that. I come from a place where mothers go to battle each day with the baby strapped across their backs. Another still clinging from their breasts, child care at its finest. A place of street businessmen who don't need a white collar to make deals, they sign contracts with handshakes. Shirtless, sometimes shoeless, they will show you how to make money. And you will find anything in these streets, from hubcaps to toilet seats, and it's been said, if you leave home naked, find yourself caught in the gridlock traffic of Lagos roads, they will have you dressed. Boardroom sharp briefcase in hand between the mainland and the island. And I come from a place of jaw-dropping mansions and wooden shacks, Where a child hawks goods in the blazing sun next to an air-conditioned Mercedes-Benz, there are dichotomies here. With abject poverty chewing at the seams that bind us, but we are the same people that built a city on water, that bent fire and metal to give you art. Check your textbooks. Better yet, check your encyclopedias, read between the lines, you will find us there. You will find us everywhere, every continent, every climate, every country speaking Portuguese, French, Italian, and they call us uncivilized. And we can show you how to perfectly pair your caviar and wine and still get down fingers deep in a plate of food. And I come from a place where the world's best storytellers first spoke, who taught you that you must set forth at dawn. Be no longer at ease with that thing around your neck before things fall apart. So when you ask me where I come from, there are things that I want to tell you that are louder than my bright green passport. Things that are heavier than the failed explosive cradled in Mutalab's underpants. Things that are more colorful than a well-crafted 419 letter. And you will never understand who I am until you know exactly where it is that I come from. Thank you. I have just enough time for one more poem and then I will disappear. A small shameless plug, I have a book of poetry that is out on the tables. Don't drink too much so you can buy a book. What is it? Drink responsibly, right? Truth? Okay. So this poem is the title poem of the book, and I thought it'd be a good way to close. So they say I'm down to earth. How could I not be? Born the color of sand, there's an ocean in my tears. Temperament like the wind, I've got fire on my tongue. My words are hard to swallow, so I spit. At anyone who ever dared to call me by anything but my God-given name. At every careless cat-calling, slippery, slithering, sweet talker, licking, longing lips, hands reaching for my hips, I burn holes. An inflated ego, see a real man knows, $5.25 worth of liquid courage in a cold glass can't buy you common sense. Transcend sense, sight, sound to something higher than carnal fire to show you that I am your mother. Wear the face of your sister, I am the smile of your daughter, and I birthed whole nations from this womb long before I existed in the skin. So these crisscross lines on my palms are only a fraction of my complexities. A snapshot of everything that connects me to every woman in Nigeria. Somalia, Rwanda, every hand that ever touched the earth, sweat and tears to put food in hungry mouths, so I am sorry. I can't dance with you now. Every rhythm you need to know lies in every one of my heartbeats, and until there is silence enough for you to hear it, we just be dancing to the wrong tune. See, I want to live a life worth dying for. Find a love worth fighting for, but every love I've ever had has left me with nothing but something to cry for. Foolishly fighting fate only to learn yet again that this is the only love worth dying for. So I began weaving written wisdom into every one of my locks. I need to clarify, I used to have dreadlocks, so that line made a lot of sense. Weaving written wisdom into every one of my locks. I dread not the wrath of any man-made God. You just can't duplicate divine, and I can't bow at the altar of your self-righteousness and let you call me any name short of beautiful. Thank you guys so much for listening.